Hi friends, and welcome to another episode of Lionsgate Podcast with your two besties, Sahdi and Omni. I'm Omni, and I got my girl Sahdi right here.
Hey guys.
All right, so this week we are going to talk about lucid dreaming, dreams, and dream interpretations. And I got some herbs for you that are going to help you out. But first, we are going to do our questions of the week. We had 2 questions written in. If you would like to have any questions written in to us, you can hit us up on Gmail at Sahdi and Omni, which is SAHDIANDOMNI at gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook at our joint Facebook, which is Sahdi Omni, or you can hit up our Lionsgate podcast, which is also on Facebook. So first question is, Sahdi, I listened to your podcast about shadow people, and being a person who's seen them a lot in my life, does that make me a bad person? And before you answer, I just want to say that us having that conversation, I did not take that away from the conversation, but if one person did take that away, I'm glad that they wrote in. So it's important if you guys have questions to write in. I think that's a great question.
Yeah, me too. And just like you said, like, I hope that it didn't come off that way. Yeah. But usually shadow people don't attach to places that have high vibrational energy. Mm-hmm. They have a hard time resonating in spaces like that or around people like that. Mm-hmm. So I didn't mean to come off that if you do have shadow people around you that you're a bad person.
Right.
But it is an indicator that you might be in a low vibrational energy. Mm-hmm. Or someone in your household, maybe.
Right, because you gave a really good example. You said when you saw them, if I remember right, you said you saw them when you were in an abusive relationship, right?
Mm-hmm, right.
Yeah, so I took it as, with your example, that, and I know we talk about low vibrational people being maybe not the best people, but when you were like, when I was in an abusive situation, you have no choice but to be low vibrational. Right. In that instance. So I took it as like, okay, well, that makes sense to me. Yeah, you're in a low vibrational place. We've all, I feel like, been there mm-hmm. in one way or another. And so, yeah, I could totally see you seeing shadow people, right. You know? Mm-hmm. And I think the few people that I have known in my life, when they've seen shadow people, they were in a really bad spot. I think one friend was like addicted to drugs at the time. Right. So it made a lot of sense to me, but I get like somebody who has seen them and maybe feeling, I don't want to say insecure, because that's totally valid to feel like, oh no, am I a bad person? Am I low vibrational?
And you can be low vibrational and still be a good person.
Yes, exactly. It's exactly.
You know, so labeling good and bad, mm-hmm. you know, I don't even like to do that.
Yeah, but it's easy. It's easy to put labels on stuff so people understand them more, mm-hmm. But then also get misinterpreted. So, right. So very good question. All right, the next question is Omni. Omni, last week you referred to yourself as Ashley, and Sahdi also referred to you as Ashley. Is Omni not your real name? And the question, like, the answer is yes and no. And we were actually we're talking about doing a segment on this already, so I won't get super deep into it. So Ashley is my birth name. My sisters, I have 3 sisters. They have very unique names. My mom and dad were hippies. My mom put a bunch of names into a hat, and what they pulled out is what they got. And somehow Ashley got put in the pot for me. And my mom said she liked Gone with the Wind, so I got stuck with that. And I've always felt like it didn't fit me. I remember when I was younger, I used to rewrite the spelling of it. My dad hated that. He's like, you changed your God-given name. I'm like, you are not God. Get out of here. But through meditation and through just really searching for it, Omni is my spiritual name. And spiritual names, there's a lot of cultures that there's one out of, I believe it's Scandinavian. I could be wrong there. But they will give their children a spiritual name, and then they will give them a common name, and they will not let the spiritual name be used in common stance. So like, they won't call that child by their spiritual name ever, but the close family knows it. And they don't do that because they believe that if somebody else finds out your spiritual name, that they can use magic against you and they can put it into a spell and they will have control over you that way. And then there's other cultures. There's some Native Americans that cultures that will, or tribes that will just give like common names to the children, and then when they become a certain age, they pick their own name, which I think is beautiful. Right. And I, like you, Sahdi, I've known you for 5+ years now, and even though Sahdi is your spiritual name, you go by that every day. I'd have never known you by your birth name. And so for me, I go by Ashley in my everyday life. I actually went by, when I was married, I went by my initials of my married name, and it was very liberating going back to my birth name after that divorce. So I do go by that, but I feel like there are people that do use their spiritual name when they're doing magic alone, and I think I fall more into that category. That's where that name came to me, and I feel like using Omni on this podcast is fitting because I'm being vulnerable with you guys and we're talking about spiritual stuff, so that's where it fits. If I refer to myself as Ashley, it's probably because I'm talking about my common life. So just to clear up any confusion, this is such a good question, and we'll go deeper into that subject at a different episode because there's a lot to unpack there. But long story short, there is no short story with me because I'm long-winded. That's my answer. Yes, my birth name is Ashley, and spiritually I go by Omni, so either which way. All right, so we're going to move on to dreams and dreams interpretation. We have so much to talk about, so much to unpack. This may be a 2-parter. We'll see when we hit about the hour mark. Oh my God, I'm so excited about this episode. All right, so Sahdi, okay, let's say if I have a dream about my mom, right? Is it going to mean the same thing as if somebody who could, because we talked about how, like, I love my mom, she's my rock, whatever. Would it mean the same thing as, like, my friend who had a really abusive mom come to her, and let's say we had the same exact dream? Would the meanings be the same? Do they fit all? Because I've read dream interpretations where, like, an owl always means spiritual change, or this always means that. But I've had dreams where I'm like, that doesn't resonate. Right.
So, it's because we're all different.
Yeah.
And so like you were saying, you can have a completely different relationship with your mom than I had with mine. So going to a dream dictionary and saying that mother means nurturing and, love, that can mean 2 totally different things for us.
Right.
So it's good to pay attention to the entire dream.
Right.
And bring back, like, how did you feel during the dream? What does your mom mean to you? What does it represent?
Right.
Because dreams speak in metaphors.
Yeah. Because so this always comes back to me. You were telling me about it, not only just dreams come in metaphor, but like sometimes your I don't want to say visions, but like, your visions come to you in metaphors. And you were talking one time about your friend Bruce.
Right.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Okay. Yeah, I do. I can tell that story.
Yeah.
So he had a cousin of his a few states away, and he was about to pass away. He was very sick. And Bruce called me and he's like, hey, I'm really tired and I don't really want to drive all that way tonight. Can you check in on his energy and see how he's doing? And so the image that I got was a little kid wiggling a tooth. And it was right there on the edge. I mean, you pull it one good time and it's going to come out. And so I immediately called Bruce and I told him that you need to get to him now because he's not going to make it very much longer. And he ended up driving all night to get there, and he made it in time to be there by his side when he passed away.
Right.
Because it was like right there on the edge. And metaphorically it was telling me that it's almost time. Right. It's like right there.
I remember you telling me that in real time, and I got goosebumps when you were like, and then he passed away, but he made it in time. And I was like, that's so beautiful. And I know for you, like, you don't need validation in I don't want to say your craft really, but like your craft really, you don't need validation because you've been doing this for however long, but I know it still has to feel amazing when you do get that validation, when you're like, yes, I listened to my intuition. I trusted it. That's something I'm still working on. Like, I know when I trust my intuition, it's spot on. Mm-hmm. But I still have that struggle where I have that voice in my head that second guesses it, themselves.
I still have that too.
Yeah.
Even though I've been doing this for a long time and I do trust myself, sometimes I don't.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Your insecurity is great to hear.
If that makes you feel any better, I'm insecure too sometimes.
It does. Well, it's kind of, like nerves, sometimes, doing this podcast, me and Sahdi are both nervous talking to people, and we talk to people all day, every day. That's like our profession. And so, but putting our stuff out there is very vulnerable. So we both have to shake off nerves. And it's weird when we tell anybody that knows us, because, that's what we do.
I don't think they believe us.
Yeah.
Like, no way.
Yeah, but we'll take a video. They'll see all of our funny little dances we do. Okay, so we have a write-in story, and I'm going to read this story real quick and go through it because I think it's really cool. If you have a write-in story, go ahead and hit us up on all our outlets that I said at the beginning, and it may be read on air. So, all right, here we go. I had broken up with my boyfriend for a few months and hadn't talked to his cousin for even longer. He was really a happy person and a nurse last time I had talked to him. I randomly had a dream about his cousin walking down the street. So her cousin, or her ex-boyfriend's cousin, was a nurse and happy. And she hadn't talked to him for a while, just to clarify. He was homeless and he looked really sickly, like addicted to drugs, and drugs were taking over. He was being pulled by dogs, and the dogs were fighting him. When I woke up, I contacted his mom, her boyfriend's mom, and asked how he was doing, then told her my dream. She said she didn't talk to him anymore and wasn't sure how he was. So that was that guy's aunt. Yeah. That night, she called me and told me that he was in the hospital with multiple stab wounds. Police found him in a homeless camp or bus or something like that. After that, we were trying to figure out the rest of the dream's meaning. I thought the dogs meant he was being dragged into hell. Later, she texted me saying that she knew what everything in my dream meant, and it was right. After investigation, they found out that he was high off of drugs and stabbed himself. And with this, he stabbed his dog to death. Oh,
that's crazy.
And that's like not even a dream. That's real life. That part was real, and that's
right.
That's heavy because I love animals. And what's messed up is like, because that is pretty much the whole story. But part of it is talking about how he loved his dog. So obviously he was high and stuff, but like, I don't know. I've had some crazy dreams, and I've been like, well, what does this mean? And, this, it wasn't literal, but it was pretty freaking spot on.
Right.
Like, the fact that she had a dream about the cousin. She didn't even really know him that well. Mm-hmm. And actually, this made me think of a dream I had. So, my ex's best friend growing up, or one of his best friends that I never got along with, he thought I was too bubbly, if you could believe that. And he's kind of punk rocker dude. And his ex-wife and me were friends, or still friends to this day. And I had a dream he had cuts all over the top of his head. Mm-hmm. And they were like stapled together and they're bleeding. And I was like yelling at him, and I was like, look at you. And he's like, I'm fine, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, look at you, you're bleeding, you're in trouble. Mm-hmm. Snap out of it. And I woke up and I was like, something's wrong. And now this guy, I'm obviously not going to say his name, he's struggled with addiction in the past and stuff, and I don't keep tabs on him because me and him never got along. Right. So and I don't really talk to my ex that much unless it has something to do with the kids, so I'm not going to talk to him. So I reached out to this guy's ex. We're still friends on Facebook, and we live far away from each other, but I was like, look, I know this is your kid's dad. I know you guys may not be on good terms, which I guess they are now. But like, I had this scary dream and it really hit me hard, and she goes, oh my gosh, that really does. I have not heard from him for a little bit, and he is in an abusive relationship. And so to me, because I felt like that was a strong enough message, to me, I thought, oh, he's in an abusive relationship, he needs to get out of that. Not that he was going to get chopped up in the head.
Right.
But that, oh, he needs to get out of that situation. And she had a talk with him and stuff, and he's doing better and all that. So, whatever, I got the message out. But it was a metaphor that, I mean, if I were to take literally, I would have just felt crazy, you know? But it wasn't literal. It was, I mean, I guess he's in abusive relationships or whatever. And he just needed to get out of it. But, yeah, and I've had a dream about my ex's stepdad. Well, okay, I had a dream I thought my dad was passing away. And it turned out that my ex's stepdad passed away. And I got this sense that he was really upset that nobody cared that he was passing on. And I wasn't close to him. I mean, I'm not close with my dad either, but I wasn't close to him. And so I when I found out he had passed, I knew it was his energy. And I'm like, why would he come to me?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talk about that where they have premonitions, but it's not like the person that they dream about. So they might have a dream that their mom passed away and it ends up being their uncle. Yeah. Their mom's brother or something like that. So I'm not really sure what those dreams are all about. I'm not.
Maybe that's the way they connect. Because I'm not connected to my dad, but he was my father-in-law.
Right.
And
so it directly it impacted your dad.
Yeah.
So you could have been feeling that or something.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, that's crazy. Okay. You had a study that you wanted to share called the fMRI study, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, I'm so excited to hear about this. Okay, I'm being quiet for once.
For the longest time, people thought that if they couldn't lucid dream, they didn't really believe that it could actually happen. So only 20% of the population can lucid dream on command or do it regularly and naturally.
Right.
The rest of us have to work at it.
Right.
Including myself. So back in 2012, they did their first experiment that proved that lucid dreams are real. And so it's called an fMRI scanner, and it measures the blood flow to different areas of the brain so they can see thoughts and actions through images.
Okay.
So they had somebody that claimed that they could lucid dream, and in real life they hooked them up to the machines and had them clench their fists over and over and over again, and they saw what lit up. And then they had them go into a lucid dream. And while they were dreaming, they told him to do the exact same thing.
Right.
Well, identical images were when he was awake doing it or when he was in his lucid dream doing it. And so they proved for the first time that lucid dreaming does happen. And
it's not he said, she said no more.
It's real.
It's not hoodoo voodoo no more. It's real. That's so cool. Okay, so did you read? Okay, so they just did the fist clenching thing, but they didn't do any further yet.
Oh, they have since then. That was just the very first experiment. So since then, you can read all about it. They've done all different kinds of experiments since then.
There was this girl on I think it was TikTok. She was talking about how she was in a lucid dream, and this guy was like, "Oh, write down because like you can't write down numbers and you can't read numbers, or it's really hard to read text or numbers." But she's like, just tell me your Facebook handle or whatever. And so he just said it, and she's like, all right. And then she woke up and she instantly went to Facebook, and it was some dude that had like passed away in 2017, and she's like, what the fuck?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting that you bring that up too, because science says that you cannot imagine someone in your dream that you've never seen before. So you see thousands of people on TV and in passing and in your lifetime, and your subconscious is like a supercomputer, right? Yeah. So it's like constantly running and picking up images. So they say that even if you see strangers in your dream, they're not actually strangers.
I've heard that.
They're people that you have seen before somewhere, somehow you might not even remember seeing them.
Right.
But that doesn't explain how someone could have a dream.
Right.
Where she meets a guy she's never met before.
Yeah, because
it turns out that he passed away.
I've heard like back 100 years ago how we had dreams about, or how we have way more vivid dreams now because of TV. and what we're able to experience through TV and like VR headsets and all that stuff versus 100 years ago or 200 years ago when there was no TV and what people could dream then. But yeah, you're exactly right.
So I believe in science,
Yeah.
to an extent, but there's some things that they just haven't been able to prove yet.
That's what I'm saying.
So I don't take science 100% either way.
That's how I feel about that. Yeah, because how do you explain how spirits you've never met have visited you,
Right.
You can't. Not yet.
Right.
Magic is just science that hasn't been proven yet. Somebody said that to me and I was like, that's so true.
I think I saw that on like a Facebook meme or something.
It was probably a meme.
Probably a meme.
I probably shared it to our Facebook. Somebody said it was amazing.
Right. So do you want to talk a little bit about how you can get better at lucid dreaming? Yeah, actually, I have some techniques. So I was reading up. I mean, I know for myself some techniques that I am bad about practicing. So I did some research for y'all. Dr. Stephen LaBerge, and if I butchered his name, don't come for me. I know I'm bad at pronouncing names, like Carl Jung. We're talking about Carl Jung, and he invented shadow work, and I was like, Carl Jung. But okay, so anyways, you can use there's 5 different methods here. You can use the WILD method, which is WILD. It helps your body go to sleep and your conscious to stay awake. You'll have to experience a hallucination before you fall asleep, kind of like mini dreams. It's when you feel like you had a dream, but you obviously haven't been asleep long enough to reach REM sleep or dreaming state. I do this when I wake up for some reason and I'm having like a really good dream, and then I like want to go back to that dream, and so I try to go back to sleep, and then jump right back into it. Like, when you're having like a really good dream. I can jump back into my dreams. I've done it, but I can't do it consistently. I've done it. You can't do it purposefully?
I do purposely. Yes, I have done that, but not every time. Like sometimes I'll just get me back in that dream. Like, oh, that was good. Okay, 2, reality testing. So ask yourself in your awake life, am I dreaming? Put your hands together, push your palms together. I guess some people, if they push their palms together in dreams, they push through each other, and that's kind of weird. That's never happened to me. Notice how you're engaging with your surroundings. Set a timer every day or even every few hours to check things while you're awake. So
I can add to that one.
Yeah.
So I actually did this technique.
Yeah.
It was a little bit different. So every time I opened a door when I was awake, I would ask myself, am I dreaming or am I awake? Because you open the refrigerator door, you open cabinet doors, you open doors all the time throughout the day, right? So you're training your subconscious mind to ask that question every single time you open a door. Any kind of door, I don't care what it is.
You're so smart.
And so there's going to come a time when you're dreaming and you see a door.
Yeah.
And you're going to open a door at some point during a dream. So if you're constantly doing that for like a week or 2 and you do it every single time, you will lucid dream. And that is like one of the best ways that I
That's such a good idea. Yeah, because I can't set timers
because
every
I'd be
day.
in a dream and I'd go to open a door and be like, am I dreaming or awake? And when you're dreaming.
Yeah.
So you ask yourself that question in a dream and you look around and you're like, oh shit, there's definitely dreaming. Right. And that's how you go into lucid mode.
Oh, that's so smart. Because I'm like, I can't set timers every day. My schedule is crazy.
No, I wouldn't set timers.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to do it with that. It doesn't have to be opening a door.
But that's
It could be
smart.
something that you do every day.
Yeah.
Like every time you go to the bathroom. Or every time, you do something that you do multiple times during the day.
I think opening doors is brilliant. Because everybody opens doors.
Right.
Unless you live in the forest, which then you're not listening to this. So,
right. All right. What's the next one?
Every time you hit a tree branch. It says set a timer. Okay, it says when you're dreaming, you can check the mirror. Okay, this little advice freaked me out because I was like, I thought you weren't supposed to ever look in the mirrors when you're dreaming.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I know they're like portals to other dimensions, and I was like, I thought it was a bad thing.
I don't really like it when people say you shouldn't do this in a lucid dream, because I say, fuck that. Like, do whatever you want to do in your lucid dream. Like, play with your subconscious mind.
Right.
And a lot of people want to be like, well, don't do this, and don't look into a mirror. This could happen. And I don't see why not. Because I look into mirrors, but I see a different person when I look in the mirror.
So
whenever I'm in lucid dreams, and I do look into a mirror, I know it's going to sound funny, but I have Down syndrome.
When you look in the mirror?
Yeah. So it'll be me for a split second, and then the image looking back at me, she has Down syndrome.
So, like, in a different dimension, you think that you have Down syndrome?
Maybe.
That would actually that would make sense in the sense that in other dimensions we're slightly different because different choices, different dimensions,
right, and it's
whatever.
only one chromosome off or something.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So, and it's always been like that.
Really?
She's always there.
Every time you look in?
Every time.
That's the one dimension over?
Maybe.
You think?
It might be.
Can you travel through? What if you walk through the mirror?
You can travel through dimensions. Oh, I've never tried to do that before. That's going to be the next thing that I do.
I want to hear about it.
Maybe I can switch places with her.
Yeah.
Or,
That's what I wondered because we're getting into Dreamwalker territory, which is going to be a different episode, but... so I won't go there because I have some really good stories with that. Not of me, but of a girl I know that is a dreamwalker. Okay. So yeah, the mirror thing kind of, I was like, should we do that? And I love how you're like, fuck that. It's your subconscious. Like, it's you. Like, there's so many people that are ruled with fear when it comes to, and I'm one of them. Like, some things I'm like, I thought we weren't supposed to do that. But the more this goes with every aspect of life. The more you educate yourself, the less fear drives you. And it's the people that aren't educated that are the most scared.
Right. But I mean, there are things that I would stay away from personally from my own belief system because when I'm in lucid dreams, it feels like it really happened. Yeah. So if I'm fighting somebody and I have to kill them, that's different. But if I set out in my lucid dream and I'm like, I want to see what it feels like to kill somebody. Right. That's something that I personally wouldn't want to do for myself. But I would never tell anybody else not to do it.
I never even thought of that.
Yeah, maybe there's somebody out there that, in a dream state that would help them, as therapy or something. I don't know. Yeah. But for me personally, I wouldn't do that because then I feel like I'd have to deal with the consequences of it. Yeah. When I woke up.
Oh, that's crazy. I've never even thought about
that. But even that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Okay. So it says push your palms together in your dream like you did when you were awake, because some people, like I said, when they push your palms together in their dream, they go through each other. Look at your hands. Look at the time. Or look at your hands, because some people, when they look at their hands in their dreams, they have 6 fingers and stuff. Yeah, I've never had that happen. Knock on wood. Knock on wood. Okay. Look at the time to see if it changes, because if you're awake, obviously the time's going to stay consecutive. But in a dream, when you look at the clock, it'll change drastically. Like one time it'll be 3:10. The next moment it'll be like 12:30. Read a text. Studies have shown that it's almost impossible to read anything in your dreams. Like, to read a text, it's pretty hard. And it's 100% harder to read it twice. So not only read a text once, read it twice. And my dyslexic ass would probably read it and be like, it doesn't make sense because I'm dyslexic. Maybe I can read perfectly in my dream. Maybe that's why I'm dyslexic. Right. Okay, lastly, breathing. Pinch your nose. And then if you're still breathing, you're dreaming.
Oh my gosh.
I could see myself suffocating in my dream. It's kind of like
that one before.
Well, it's kind of like the movie Inception. I don't know if you watched the movie Inception. Yeah. It's all about dreams. And you know how they have like that thimble spinner thing, and
yeah, that's how he knows.
Yeah, that's how you know if the thimble falls over, you're not dreaming because gravity. But if it stays up, you're dreaming because it's not real.
Well, you don't have that on your list, but I want to go back to the dream journal.
Oh, I have it on here. It's later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How many do you have?
Sorry, it's a little long. Hold on, okay, let me get through it.
Okay.
We keep talking. It's because this is fun. Okay, okay, don't just try one of these. Do it every time. Sometimes your smart brain will catch on and pretend like it can't breathe when you pinch your nose. Okay, so 3. Because there's 5 of them. Okay. These are like mini things within them. Wake back to bed in one technique. All right, so set an alarm for 5 hours after your bedtime. So this is the technique, which I didn't even realize, just to backtrack a little bit. When I had night terrors as a child, my doctor had me set an alarm for 4 hours after I go to sleep, and made me wake up during REM sleep and write down my dream. And this worked for me, but it also made me stop remembering my dreams eventually. So I think it's because I was scared of them. So it's kind of funny that this is a way, like he was therapeutically telling me how to lucid dream without me understanding it when I was little. All right, so set it for 5 hours after you go to bedtime. Go to sleep as usual. When the alarm goes off, stay up for 30 minutes. Enjoy a quiet activity like reading. Fall back asleep. When you go back to sleep, you'll be more likely to lucid dream. While you're awake, choose any activity that requires full alertness. Research suggests the changes of lucid dreaming depend on the level of alertness and not the specific activity. So if you wake up and you're reading, I can't wake up and read a book. Like, I'm
if
tired.
I'm awake, I'm going to be awake for the rest of the day.
Yeah,
I don't think that one would work for me.
But everyone's different,
Right.
so
it might work for other people.
Yeah, maybe I'll like go for a jog. That's funny because I don't like to jog.
Maybe in your dreams.
I know. In my dreams, I'll run. Maybe I'll lose weight. All right. So number 4. Oh, I'm gonna butcher this. Mnemonic induction of lucid dream. It's the MILD method. MILD. So not like wild. As you fall asleep, think of a recent dream. Identify a dream sign or something that's irregular or strange in the dream. An example is the ability to fly. Okay. You always say you fly. When I fly in my dreams, I'm swimming in the air. It's really slow and annoying. Think about returning to that dream. Acknowledge that the dream sign only happens when you dream. Tell yourself, the next time I dream, I want to remember that I am dreaming. Recite the phrase in your head. You can also practice MILD after waking up in the middle of a dream. This is usually recommended as the dream will be fresher in your mind. Okay, so this is kind of, I think wild and mild are kind of similar because I jump back into a dream after I wake up to pee and I'm like, that was a good dream. I want to go back to it. Okay, so then number 5 is keep a dream journal. And one thing you had told me was, because my little texting butt will, like, first thing I wake up, I reach for my phone and I get on my phone and that just really kills it. And so you were talking about dream journals.
Like dream journals. So say you get up and you use the bathroom, keep a dream journal with a pen by the toilet. Get up, go use the bathroom, and even if you can only remember a couple things, like a clown with red hair juggling green apples, okay? Just write clown, green apples, juggling. That's it. You don't have to spend an hour writing out, because people are like, I don't have time at first thing in the morning to, like, write out my entire dream. Don't. Just write keywords.
And then that's remember enough what they mean.
And then eventually... And so you write that down, and then the next night before you go to bed, grab your dream journal and look at what you wrote and pay attention to it and try to remember your dream from the previous night.
And then you can go back into it.
You might not be able to go back into it, but it's teaching your brain to remember. It's your consciousness working with your subconscious together because you're trying to wake up during a dream, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that I've found really works for most of the people that I've talked to about it. So you just keep a dream journal, and then the following night, morning when you wake up, you might be able to remember a little bit more of your dream. Write everything down that you can remember. It doesn't have to be in complete detail.
That's so smart, because I am if you guys can't tell, I'm a long-winded bitch, so, I'll be sitting there for hours.
And if you don't want to write it down, you could also have a recorder beside you. Oh! And you could talk about your dream to yourself, and then right before you go to bed, listen to what you said.
That's so smart.
It's really crazy, like kind of off topic, but even with mantras and things like that, you can listen to somebody tell you something over and over and over again, but your mind will pick up on it faster if it's in your own voice. Because you listen to what you tell yourself more than you're going to trust somebody else telling that to you. That's true. But the way that the brain works, if it hears your own voice telling you something, you're going to believe it.
That's amazing. Yeah. I never thought, I send Sahdi like 100 voice clips a day. And because I like talking, obviously. So that's like, dude, that's what I'm going to do.
So start recording your dreams and then play it back the night before when you go to sleep, and then tell yourself, I'm going to remember my dreams tonight I'm going to lucid dream. Even if you have to tell yourself that for 2 weeks in a row, I promise you, if you do that consistently, you will wake up in your dream. everybody can do this, okay? Like, it might not come naturally because it didn't to me either. Only 20% of us, right, can do it, you know, just naturally.
I know. I wish I was one of those 20%. Shoot.
But you think about that might be like evolution, because it's grown over
however many years. Yeah.
And so that could be like another part of evolution.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
how
crazy.
We're growing and being able to do things like that.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, think about what you can do in your dreams, though. Like that's That's amazing. Like, I don't know, with my dreams, I mean, I have like server nightmare dreams. Those are just your subconscious being like you're stressed out. But like, there's other dreams that, I don't know, there's like, you have prolific epiphanies in your dreams.
Well, what about like, what is his name? Albert Einstein.
Oh, yeah.
For instance, right? He called it his dream reality, but he took lots of little naps during the day. And the theory of relativity came to him in a dream.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's Tesla, and he would explain going into like a virtual reality type space. He would he didn't really call it lucid dreamings, but he would say that he would put himself into a trance or some form of dream state where he could work on his inventions in his mind. And he said it didn't matter if he was actually working out the invention in the third dimension or if he was doing it in his dream, that it made no difference.
Really?
Yeah.
So, like, he can make a car explode by accident. It's not a big deal because it's in his dream.
Right. And because he messed up on that part, he would take that back into the third dimension, and he would know not to do that because the car would explode or whatever the case, right? So he'd be able to work it out in his dream.
That's so cool. And then I think he's not sleeping at all. Right. I mean, really, his brain's not sleeping.
Right. And all of these, like some of these people, there was a guy that won the Nobel Peace Prize. So it was about the first model of the atom or something like that. So he dreamed of like planets attached to pieces of string, and they were like circling around the sun. And when he woke up, he suddenly envisioned like the movement of electrons.
Really?
Right. And then the one that I really like is there was this guy back in like 1860s. He was a chemistry professor. And so he was trying to figure out the structure of benzene.
Okay.
Right? And this was like way back in the day. And he said that he was like working on it for days and days and days and days, and he decided to just sleep on it. And so when he went to sleep, he was seeing like the molecules and atoms, and then they turned into snakes. And then one of the snake coiled around and bit his tail, turning into the ancient symbol Ouroboros.
Oh,
right?
That's
and
badass.
So he literally solved the chemical structure of benzene in a dream. Just like that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's like Martin Luther King. I had a dream.
Right? Well, you never know what he was doing in his dreams, too.
Right?
You know?
That's,
honestly. Because...
Yeah.
And then there's like one more that I really thought was cool. There was like a Russian chemist, and he did the same kind of thing. He would take naps, and he would, I believe he was lucid dreaming. And so he was trying to classify the 56 elements and decided to sleep on it. And in the dream, he saw a table, and all of the elements just magically fell into place. And that's where he came up with the periodic table.
That's so cool.
Right.
Because that's stuff we use, like, we get taught in school. This is stuff that's, like, really helped society move along scientifically. That's amazing. And those are just ones that are recorded. Can you think of everything that's not recorded? Yeah.
Well, I've read about, like, actors and stuff that talk about lucid dreaming and stuff like that, too, where they were, like, manifesting things, lucid dreaming. And then, like, manifesting. So if anybody's ever watched, like, the law of attraction or know anything about that, right? You're supposed to imagine that that's actually happening to you. Like if you want a new car, you're supposed to imagine the smell of it and what it looks like and what color it is and how it sounds and how it feels when you get in it. And you can imagine that, right? But what if you can actually do it in your lucid dream? You're actually in the car, you're driving it, you're test driving it, if that's your car.
And you'd be manifesting that so fast.
You could manifest that into your reality.
Yeah.
You're actually doing like a simulation of that in your lucid dream purposefully.
Yeah.
Right?
And so the law of attraction gets doubled over like tenfold.
Right.
That's amazing.
It's like a simulation. You can have sex in dreams.
Oh, girl.
You can pretty much do whatever you want.
Whatever you want. We've all been there. No, Tom Holland. I'm pretty sure it's Tom Holland. He's the Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man. Don't hate me. So Tom Holland, there was like this whole clip about him, and they're like, dude, did Tom Holland manifest his whole life? There's a clip of him when he was little, and they were like, or younger, before he ever did any of the Spider-Mans, being like, who's your biggest celebrity crush? And he's like, Zendaya, which is his girlfriend now, who ended up doing the Spider-Mans with him. And then there was a clip, interview of him being like, who's your favorite superhero? And he goes, oh, Spider-Man. And then he got the part of Spider-Man. And then there's a clip of him, of them being like, what's your favorite video game? And he's like, Uncharted. And then he was in the movie Uncharted, right. And they're like, did Tom Holland just manifest his whole life? And I'm like, fuck yeah, he did. Right. Like, how do you do it, bro? He's probably dreaming about
Lucid dreaming.
Yeah, I bet he's one of the 20%.
And so, like, just on the subject of talking about, like, these famous philosophers and inventors and things that are going, I believe that my son traveled to that realm. So my oldest son, he's really into yoga and meditation, and he's very spiritual. He teaches me things every time I talk to him. Anyway, he lucid dreams quite often. Yeah. And so he was having a dream, and he realized that he was dreaming, so he went into lucid mode. Right. And behind him, he saw one of those boats that you see like at a fair or a carnival or something like that. It was like a big dragon boat that just kind of sways from side to side. Oh, yeah. And so he was like, okay, I'm going to get on this boat. And so he gets on, and it starts swaying, and it puts him into this deep trance-like state. And he can feel that it's just going back and forth and back and forth, and he feels like he's raising in consciousness. So he's meditating, and he's in a trance state while he's in a lucid dream. So anyway, the boat finally stops, and he looks around, and he sees people doing complicated math equations. He sees people doing experiments, science experiments and stuff like that. And he was just kind of in awe of where he was. Right. So he walks up to this guy, and he's like, where are we? Like, what is going on here? And he's like, this is where we take the metaphysical and we pull it into the physical. This is where we experiment on our creations.
Tesla's in the corner.
Right. Tesla's over there. And probably, like, maybe that's where Tesla and all of these other people that I was just talking about, maybe they went there too. Oh, maybe cool. There's a whole dimension where anything is possible.
So what did he do when he was there?
So he said that he, just kind of looked around, and he met this guy, and he asked him what he was doing. And he said that he had this really cool machine idea where you put an image in, any image that you want, and within a matter of minutes, the computer can tattoo it on your skin. Oh. Right, in a matter of minutes. And so I have 50 hours worth of tattooing on my arm. 50 hours. And it would be amazing if I could just put this image into a computer, right, and have it done in 3 minutes.
Yeah, especially because what if you get a shitty artist too? Like, I have been blessed with the artists that have done my ink, but like, ooh, yeah. I've seen some bad shit out there. Yeah, that's amazing. I would totally do that.
But that's a concept idea. So it was basically where people would have these concept ideas, and then they would go to this realm to experiment and see if they could make it work.
Yeah, fuck Shark Tank. Right. Get me in my dream. Give me my dreams.
Right. So I think that's crazy, because you can do other things like that too. You can use the dreams as a simulation.
Yeah. Right? I wonder, I'm like, how would he even get back there? Like, he'd realize he's dreaming and then just like be like, all right, does he need the boat, or does he just like sit down and focus?
I mean, we can pretty much do whatever we want. Yeah. We have to figure it out within our own consciousness too, because everybody's different.
Exactly.
So, next time if you're really, really good at like trance meditation, the next time you're in a lucid dream, do that and see if you can raise your consciousness within your dream.
Oh, see, I need to get to step one more. I mean, I've lucid dreamed plenty of times, but it's not consistent enough.
But I would recommend, like, when you first start lucid dreaming, just play with it. Yeah. Fly, or like talk to people, or, just do fun things and play around with it. Yeah. And then when you get better and better, and you can recall more information and bring that back with you. Okay. Then you can start really working.
Right. there's some people that
state.
say that you shouldn't tell other people that they're not real or that you're dreaming because they get mad. And I'm like, I've never had that happen.
Well, I've noticed that when you talk to people, they have their own type of consciousness.
Yeah.
They say that they're all, different perspectives of yourself.
Yeah.
That's what science says. I'm not sure if that's
I think I made a note of that, saying that it's your that if you ask somebody a question, that it's your subconscious answering. And I thought that was interesting. Like, really?
Right.
I'm like, what questions could I ask myself and get a real answer out of?
Right.
I don't know.
Oh, we were going to talk about the spirit animals also.
Yes, that was so cool.
So you can actually go into your lucid dream and ask for your spirit animal to present itself to you, and then you can go into that animal.
Yeah, and
so say it's an eagle, and you can go into the eagle, and you can fly, and you can feel what that eagle feels, and get messages through that.
Yeah, and didn't you say like you could? Because she was just talking to me about this. You were saying that in your dream you can ask your spirit guides or higher self to show themselves, and you can connect to them that way.
You can.
Which that is amazing to me, and I've always said like I feel like I feel like my communication is definitely more so in the dream world. I feel like that's where I'm at, but I'm just disconnected from it, and I think a part of it is, well, for one, discipline, but for two, I think it does have something to do with that therapist not explaining what I was doing when I was younger, and it did shut a little part of me off. So just working on it. Like I have, so what helps me is I wanted to bring this up, is I'm all about herbs and teas, and like we drink tea every time we're doing this podcast. We're sucking down tea. So if you're like wanting to help yourself lucid dream, any of these will help you. And there's more out there, but this is just off the top of my top shelf. So like lavender, chamomile, or skullcap, they're all going to help get you relaxed and calm. And it's a lot easier to, not just go to sleep. Like, I don't know, you take a Benadryl, you're not going to remember shit. You're just going to pass out for 16 hours. So you want something that's going to gently rock you into that. Mugwort is my favorite lucid dream everything. Like when I astral projected, that's what I was asking for at that place I went to, was mugwort. And I think that was my spirit guides being like, you need to get this because this is where you need to go. And I even grow it. A fun fact about mugwort, actually. If you smoke mugwort, it'll give you the same effects as weed. And I've tested it. But they last half as long. So I don't recommend buying mugwort and doing this. I did it with the stuff I grow because you don't really know exactly what they put in it to smoke it. I feel like is, I don't know.
Well, you can go to a reputable herbal store or something like that. Most people have those in their area where you can just go to
I like to go to ones that are the specialized in smoke, like smoking herbs, because I feel like smoking herbs and drinking them are two different wheelhouses. So like when I'm going to smoke something, either I grow it or I go to a place that specializes in the mixes that help you like to smoke it, because I don't smoke anything very often ever. But in Asia, mugwort grows everywhere. It grows by all the rivers and stuff, because in Asia, weed is illegal, unlike here in the States, or most of the states here now. And so they'll smoke that as like a supplement, like instead, so they can't get in trouble. And I just always think that's funny. Anyways, this will help you lucid dream, have prophetic dreams. See, I'm doing it now, stuttering. And then enhance them. Sage, I always recommend, please grow it, and just it really helps with peacefulness. So if you're having scary dreams, sage will help clean out those, just kind of like you do around the house. Like it helps clear out the negative energy. Same with dreams, it helps clear those out, have peaceful dreams. Rosemary, I use that for everything, but it really helps to increase memory. So if one of your problems like me is like you'll forget your dreams because you get sidetracked very easily, rosemary will help you focus and help you remember them. Blue lotus flower is an ancestral flower, and it helps open up your third eye. I also use blue lotus flower because it helps with anxiety and depression. And so if I'm just feeling kind of down, I always put this in a tea. This is how
you can smoke blue lotus flower also.
You can. Yeah, I have not tried that yet, but I know you can.
I've done it before.
Yeah. Okay. No, tell me your story on that real quick.
I don't really have a story on it. It's just I've astral projected using blue lotus.
That's right.
Tea and smoking it, and so I've had good experience with lucid dreaming too.
Yeah.
With that.
So and you can that is probably one of my favorites. Mugwort is my number one. That blue lotus flower is probably close to number 2, if not tied. Wormwood is vivid dreams. Now I will say wormwood and mugwort are so bitter. So if you're gonna have it in a tea, get you some hibiscus, lots of lavenders, get some agave. If you look, you can make lavender syrup, and I use that in all my teas because it's delicious. So it's just basically it's like liquid lavender sugar. Skullcap is a big one. It helps you relax. It helps get rid of stress. So it helps you ease you into that dream state. So you'll be more alert. Magnolia bark is also super bitter. So just fair warning. And that helps you astral project specifically. So let's see. Lemongrass. So lemongrass, if you take that, it boosts color and it just makes it brighter and more exotic. So if you need more vibrant dreams. And then rosebuds will help like women in particular. So if you have a female driven dream or I don't know, if you're needing a dream that's like empowering, like you need that feminine energy, I would drink some rose. I mean, I like rose tea, so. And then peppermint is like a big one too. That's for lucid, prophetic. It helps level you out. There was another herb, the
Haritaki.
Okay, you got to talk about this.
So Haritaki is one of the most powerful herbs that I've ever taken for astral projection, lucid dreaming, opening my third eye. When I don't take it too often. I'll probably take it for a week or two, and then I'll stop for a few months because the effects are almost too powerful.
Okay.
If I take it for too long, I'll start to feel like I'm in between two different worlds at the same time.
Really?
Yeah. It opens my third eye that much to where I feel like I'm in between the third and fourth dimension.
So how do you take it? Like, I know it's a powder.
It's a powder. I take mine in a capsule because I don't like the way that it tastes. Some people do. Some people will just take the powder and swish it around their mouth. It's great for your gums and your teeth. It's an antibacterial. It's good for so many different things too, like for medical reasons. But I take it before I go to bed at night.
Okay.
With a big glass of warm water, like half an hour before I go to bed. And the dreams that I have and how lucid they are is amazing.
Okay, I have an important question.
It just kind of like blows your mind how fast it starts to work within a few days, or even the first night.
Will you shit the bed?
Okay, so I'm not gonna lie.
You take it right before bed.
Some people claim that it's good to, remove just like all the gunk out of your body.
Yeah.
Even parasites and things like that. Not all of us have healthy lifestyles where we're just eating, raw fruits and vegetables. So it flushes your system out. And so it does cleanse you. So maybe the first time that you take one, first night or two, because your body does start to get used to it after a couple of days, you will have to use the bathroom when you wake up in the morning. Okay. So maybe do it on a day where you don't have to go to work or have anything important that you need to do for the first few hours in the morning when you wake up. But that's good for you too.
Wait, but you won't shit the bed though, right? It doesn't work that fast.
No, I doubt it.
If I shit the bed, Sahdi, I'm calling you up at 3 a.m. Poop and chocolate.
It's not that bad. It's not where you're gonna have like bad stomach cramps, or it's not gonna hurt you or anything. But it does flush your system completely out.
So I ordered some because you told me about it, and I've been waiting to take it. So maybe I'll have a story next week.
Yeah, I hope so.
About shitting. I hope not about shitting in the bed.
That.
No, but like a lucid dream and stuff. Because I think overall, like over this whole episode, we've like you've brought up super good points. I love how we do like we talk about doing an episode and then we do like a little bit of research on our own, and then we just like you have input on the stuff I do and I have input on the stuff you do, and I don't know, I'm excited to try some of the techniques that you added on, you know, about like don't be scared to look in the mirror, or like to audio, say my dreams in audio, or even jot down a few notes, because I do think I wake up in the morning and I'm processing my dream and I'm just like, I'll remember it because I'm thinking of it so vividly. And then I forget all about it like as soon as I pick up my phone. So it might be nice to just hit that record and be like, this is what I dreamed about, like a dog hopping over a river or something.
Right. And it doesn't have to be, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to write in a dream journal. That's boring. Or I don't have time for that when I first wake up or whatever. But really, it only takes a few seconds.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially jotting down notes.
And like, my advice, keep it in the bathroom. If that's the first thing you do is get up and use the bathroom, you sit down, grab your pen, you know, and write down a couple little things and get yourself in the habit of doing that.
I start my coffee. So, well, usually I play on my phone, but I won't do that.
Well, then instead of grabbing your phone, put the notebook on top of your phone.
So you have to grab that for... I don't want to get out of bed, so I'm going to reach for my notebook and write it down. I mean, it takes a form of discipline is...
but they say it only takes 30 days to develop a habit. So if you can just... Because the benefit is so worth it.
Yes.
If you can expand your consciousness and learn how to lucid dream and be able to do simulations in your dream and have sex and fly and manifest and all of these things. Yeah. Do a 30-day challenge. Yeah. You know, instead of reaching for your phone, reach for your recorder or your notepad.
Starting today. Yep. Right? Starting today. I'm doing it. Right. All right. Well, we're hitting about close to the hour mark, so we're going to have to wrap up for tonight. I don't want to because this is like fun, and we have more stuff to talk about, but that'll have to wait. All right. So if you guys want to write in a story or you want to ask us questions about this episode, hit us up on Facebook under our Sahdi Omni page or our Lionsgate podcast page. Give us a like. Or you can email us at sahdiandomni@gmail.com. SAHDIANDOMNI@gmail.com. Next week, we're going to talk about our past, our path, and present. And we just hope that you guys keep your minds open and stay tuned.
Namaste.